I don't understand how anyone isn't instantly frightened by her, but at least Bharadwaj is enjoying having Leebeebee follow her around like a child. I believe that Bharadwaj is simply thrilled that someone is so intrigued by the samples she has gathered from the planet. You are aware of how interest results in validation and assurance, and when someone like Leebeebee is involved, it appears like there is a lot of validation to go around. She was able to arrange things so she could kiss the scar on Bharadwaj's hand after kissing Murderbot. Bharadwaj is simply appreciative that she is receiving such concentrated attention. She has been itching to share about her traumatic encounter with the enormous centipede that nearly devoured her. Therefore, Bharadwaj is too emotional to notice her strange behavior now that someone is questioning. She does become annoyed with Leebeebee, so it's not that she doesn't. Leebeebee basically sexualizes Murderbot in another extremely disgusting diatribe almost immediately after they join Garathan. It seems that she comes from a culture where you buy it, you own it, so she wouldn't mind changing it up with a sex module. The Preservation Alliance's perspective on sentient constructions doesn't entirely align with that. They're not even interested in viewing them as slaves, much less sex slaves. It's not very clear that Leebeebee thinks their moral superiority is admirable. However, because Bharadwaj and Garathan are so incredibly kind, she can easily switch topics to carry on their conversation. It turns out that she wants to use the money she receives from completing her indenture to become a mother. Poor individuals need a license to become parents since the corporation doesn't want them to have children. Bharadwaj finds all of it absurd because anyone can have as many children as they like in the Preservation Alliance. Leebeebee poses a reasonable query. For all those infants, who even foots the bill? I believe Garathan is merely being realistic when he says that all of their money is debt. Some of that debt should be paid off by the survey their crew has come to do on this planet. Therefore, despite Bharadwaj's desire to think of themselves as self-sufficient, they are not. On a quest to gather data and resources that they may sell to corporations seeking power, this crew is putting their lives in danger. What about a moral victory? It just serves to illustrate that even in the made-up, futuristic world of Murderbot, not everything is so clear-cut. The Preservation Alliance has put itself in a difficult position in their attempts to establish a self-sufficient financial system free from the need for forced labor, despite their extreme regard for all people and creations. Furthermore, the structure of the corporate rim is far more sustainable, despite being utterly ruthless, malevolent, and predatory. People haven't even been given the option to make bad financial choices. The negative aspect? Humans aren't truly free. The positive aspect? They are not allowed to overpopulate the Earth and push a large portion of its population into abject poverty. It's almost as if a harmonious fusion of the two worlds may develop into a morally upright way of living. However, how can you even begin such a significant change? Right now, Garathan and Bharadwaj have more pressing concerns. Bharadwaj must be so blind to Leebeebee's blatant lies because of her extraordinary faith in human kindness. She even fails miserably at feigning passion when she fabricates a story about how the Preservation team and the Deltfall team had a very similar experience on the planet. But why did Leebeebee act so surprised when Bharadwaj informed her about her experience if they also had missing locations on the maps and were attacked by enormous creatures when they went to check these spots out? Bharadwaj is unable to recognize these conflicts because he is too uneasy with the suspicion. Fortunately, Garathan has the common sense to stop what was obviously turning into a cunning method for Leebeebee to learn more about their business. Given that Leebeebee's real employers haven't given her the chance to take things any more slowly, lucky might be an exaggeration. Therefore, she shot Bharadwaj and Gura. Arida, Pinli, and Rathi are kind enough to come downstairs completely disarmed to make things easy for her. You can understand why these individuals irritate Murderbot so much. Mensa was called out by Murderbot in the last episode for her gullible tendency to blindly trust everyone who asks for assistance. Even Leebeebee is not employed by Deltfall, and she didn't even have to work hard to try to sneak into the Preservation team and find out more about them from the bad people. They took her in without checking her work status with the Deltfall team. She just needed to utter the words. Thus, Murderbot was spot on in retrospect. Additionally, the rogue bot saves the day in this week's Murderbot episode by charging in and blowing Leebeebee's head off before she can complete her threat. In the shows it watches, it has witnessed situations like these occur far too frequently. When you save someone's neck, they are happy and appreciative. However, Murderbot finds the actual world to be far less satisfying. Garathan is more angry at Murderbot than appreciative, despite the fact that the insane Leebeebee shot him in the knee. None of the others are doing well either. When Paradwaj was trying to persuade Leebeebee that she is not wicked, things kind of fell out of her control. Paradwaj may simply be too pampered to think that individuals can put money before real people. However, Paradwaj argues that she was not given enough time to save Leebeebee after Murderbot killed her, which I think was very necessary if it wanted the Preservational crew to survive. Even if given the entire day, I don't think they could truly alter someone like Leebeebee, who was employed by the same individuals that destroyed the Deltfall crew and intends to do the same to the Preservational team. One or more of them would have died by now if it weren't for Murderbot. But truly, Murderbot understands. It proceeded to liquefy someone's head just as they were beginning to believe it was one of them. It's really challenging to accept that. The unsettling aspect is that Murderbot anticipated their thanks. This simply indicates that its lack of a heart has created an empty area due to the absence of positive reinforcement. How does Murderbot intend to address that? I fear that after turning rogue, it wants to pursue the emotion that led it to call itself Murderbot. He was reminded of the excitement of shooting people when he killed Leebeebee. Surely that can't be good. The Preservational team must prevent Murderbot from becoming murderous and living up to its name if they hope to escape this planet unharmed. However, they must first locate a secure location. The evil guys will likely get quite upset if they don't hear back from Leebeebee. They will seek out the Preservation A group.